If you ever looked at your history of this country, you've had some ineffective presidents most of the time. Most of the time. You had one president always concerned about was what he was going to eat that day and the clothes he was going to wear. Did absolutely nothing else for the whole 4 years. So the thing is that that most of the people in this country come from an ancestry of other countries that had monarchies. And so they're still looking, because it's really genetically driven, for one single individual to be the figurehead, so that they can rely on them and they can relax and no other needs are taken care of. Do you know, it was never supposed to work that way in this country. So we always think it's really interesting that you have these elections of presidents, because this country can run quite well without one. After all, the president only has 5 duties. 5. 5. Do you only have 5 duties? No. No. It's the only job in this entire country that you can't have any training for before you're on the job. It's on the job training. Isn't that amazing? So people have this idea that the president you elect is going to be the end all of be all and take care of all your needs and all of that. And I tell you, my dear one, if you look at your history of your presidents, you'll be rather embarrassed, perhaps. Really? That's what went out there? You ought to feel really good ones, a few of them, but most of them were quite ineffective. Quite ineffective. Do you know that you had a president that put electricity in the White House and never used it because he and his wife were afraid to throw the switch? What does that say for the rest of the country? So, my dear one, these arguments, this lack of unification, is temporary. And actually what it ends up building is actually a greater unity. And it strengthens what is said in your constitution, and that is, we the people, not I the president. And that's important, dear one. If you can't get angry, you can't get upset, you're going to go on and you're going to live your lives and you're going to ignore everything. So this is on purpose, and it's for purpose. And perhaps the lovely one will change his hairdo. All right, it's got a lot of exposure. But you see, the thing is, this is not wrong, and that's the thing for people to understand. It's not wrong. It's right. And it's right for this country, and it's right for the people. Right for the people. Unfortunately, you can't always have an Abraham Lincoln. He was elected at the worst time. Can you imagine being elected into president when the first and only time there was a war in the country? Can you imagine the stress, the weight of responsibility, the heartbreak you're having to move through when family is warring family? This country has tried to avoid another one for a long time. And I tell you, dear one, what has happened here does not initiate another one. It doesn't. There needs to be something that is a call together of people and caring. And when you get upset by something like this, there is more demand put on the representatives of the country than ever before. I tell you, what you don't know even as a citizen is you are very hard on your politicians. You call them to task. Yes, you are very verbal, you are very active about that, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So this is a good thing. And it's sad to say that this country, and really the world, is not ready for a female president. Just not ready for it. There has been other female leaders, and they have not had an easy time. Most of the politics in the world are still driven by males, and that's fine. but they have a certain standard of communication. And there are many men, many mayors in other countries that will not discuss great, powerful things with a woman. It's their culture. And it goes against our culture. And that is to be honored also. It's their culture. There's nothing wrong with it. It's their culture. So, my dear one, you can let this go. You can let it go. Yes, people are up in arms and we encourage it. We say, good, because your words are important and they are powerful, and what you have to say is also extremely powerful. It's your country. And you can't just sit back and let somebody else act for you when you don't even really know this person. You see? So we are excited, dear one, because it does exactly what it's supposed to do. And that is get people to get excited and to say something, to do something. And that's a very good thing. There have been many presidents, dear one, that when they were elected into office, people had such high hopes of them. I'm going to tell you, Eisenhower was one of them. They thought, well, he's a general, so he's going to really move this country. And yes, some of the things he did were very good, and some of the things he did confused a lot of people. But the point of the matter is, just because you have somebody that has been able to lead a business, a state, to be able to lead the military, doesn't mean that you still give your power up to them. And that's been the biggest problem in this country, people giving their power over to the president and not saying anything. But it's really been the last several years, last 10 years really, that individuals have been able to finally have a voice and utilize that voice. And don't you think that's better, dear one? Don't you think that's better? So it's not that this country's being torn apart by it. Oh, I tell you, you will survive. You've gone through worse. All right, rather than a man, God bless him, with a bad hairdo. All right, so it's okay. The country's not going to be ruined over this. You've set it up in such a beautiful way that they have to go through Congress and the House of Representatives and all of the citizens of the United States. I wouldn't want the job. Can you imagine an Archangel as President of the United States? I'm sure I would get lots of complaints. Well, yes, we know that looks like a big mess, but it's okay. There are solutions to this. Does that help you, dear one?
Yeah, I'm not putting the emphasis on a president. I'm putting an emphasis on separation. You know, the separation of people. One of my best friends voted for this, and one of my best friends voted for that. And I'm like, wow, that's separating. That's making me feel separate from you.
Why don't you look at it instead of separatism, dear one, as choice?
Yeah.
They are exercising their choice, which is a power. And I say, good for you for making a choice.
And who he's putting into power is also concerning me. And who he's putting into
He's not that much power, dear one.
Well.
Truly. Not that much power. I think you'd like your president to have a lot more power than they did, and they used to, and then they took all the duties away from them because they were so insufficient. Do you know this country started without any president at all? That's how Washington became president, because they thought, well, we need sort of a figurehead, something that people can say, this represents the United States, but it was never really necessary. So dear one, please do not look at it as separatism. Look at it as people exercising their divine right to make a choice. And we think that's excellent. All right. Not the people that their choice is no choice. That's fine. That's still making a choice, dear one. But people that are arguing, dear one, I assure you, it will calm down. It will calm down. And it won't break this country apart. It just won't, dear one. But it will make changes, and that's what you want. That's what you ultimately want. And that's why this dear man is perfect. Because it will initiate more changes in this country than this country has seen in almost 200 years. I think that's good. What do you think, dear one? What do you think?
I don't know. My background has been in environmental everything, and to nominate somebody that actually sued the EPA. I used to work for the EPA. I mean, this is frightening to me, but I have to remember who I am, who I'm connected to,
Yes.
and all that. But right now, I'm in it. I'm in it because this is disconcerting to me.
But dear one, understand that this individual is not wrong. He's not a power. He's not the ultimate word. It's not a monarchy. He is, dear one, there to stir the pot.
Well, he's stirring it.
He's stirring it good, isn't he, dear one? He hasn't even gotten into office and he's stirring it.
He who stirs the shit pot should be forced to lick the spoon.
Well, dear one, again, you've got another a president, what your history has been. And my dear one, please understand, everything is God. Everyone is God. Everyone is, whether they remember or they don't remember, and everyone is guided by God. Dear one.